friends. Today I'm going to be reviewing this lovely little mini wheel by Vevor, I believe. I'm not really sure how you say that. I should probably learn how to say that. But just an FYI, I did not receive this for free. I bought this. This is not a paid review. I am very honest about my opinion about this in this video because I didn't receive it for free. And you're gonna see just how it works. This is my first time ever using it. I've been really scared to use this wheel, very intimidated by this tiny wheel for a year and a half. I'm finally trying it today, and I'm gonna give you my honest opinion on it as a potter who's been throwing on the pottery wheel for over 20 years. You wouldn't think I'd be intimidated by a miniature wheel, but I am. So you get to see how it works, get to see my first experience with it, and my honest opinion on it if you would like to buy one for yourself. Let's jump in. I've been kind of intimidated by it. Even though I've been making pottery on the wheel for 20 years, for some reason this one scares me. I've heard it's kind of tricky to make tiny pots on a tiny wheel, and I guess I'm a little scared to try, but I'm going to try, and you'll see me trying for the very first time today. This is my very first time ever turning it on, so we'll see how it works, and we'll see how easy or hard it is for a seasoned potter. It did come with an impressive amount of tools. These are obviously not the best tools, but if you're a total beginner and you don't have anything, it's better than nothing. Came with all of these and all of these, and these are actually pretty decent looking. Let me see how they feel. But this is everything you need to throw pots on the wheel. So for a nice beginner set, that works. Open her up. Then we've got a sponge. Synthetic, but still works. Metal rib. Decent, really decent. A needle tool, also quite nice. These are the ones that are always kind of cheaped out on the wooden tools, and the reason I say that they're cheaped out on is usually the connections are not good, they're not glued in very well, and then the tool gets wet and the glue dissolves and they fall apart. And also I can tell this wood is not super high quality. It's definitely a pretty light pine that is not going to last and last. Same with this. See, this one's already falling apart. This is, ugh. I have some sensory issues with tools like this. Cheap pine tools make my skin crawl for whatever reason. They're not as bad when they're wet, but I do not like the way that they feel. This is another loop tool, so you have two loop tools. This one's better. It's got a nice gloss varnish on it, so it doesn't feel as offensive. I know I'm weird. I know that's not normal. A little wire tool. That's decent. Yeah, that'll work. That'll do the trick. So we got a wire tool to cut the pieces off the wheel, and then we have a wooden rib. Also very cheap pine. These are not tools that are going to last, but if you're just playing around with pottery, if you're not sure that this hobby's going to stick, if you just need something real quick and simple, these are fine. They're just not great. The wheel also came with an instruction manual. Pretty simple. Shows you how to throw a pot. That's pretty cool. And a plug. So I'm going to plug her in and see how challenging this is. This will be fun.
So right off the bat, I have an annoying issue. This cord is extremely short. My plug is right underneath my table, my desk, and I can't even plug it in. Can't reach. So I'm gonna need to get an extension cord. So already big negative, don't love that. All right, got my extension cord. Gonna plug her in. Let's see how this goes. I was warned by many potters not to get a mini wheel. I've heard they are all terrible. There used to be a company that made good ones made out of wood, but I think they went out of business, and all the other ones on the market I've heard are terrible. I bought this one on a whim, thinking it's only $40 if it doesn't work. That's okay. It's not a huge loss. But we'll see. If it does work, it might be a fun little toy. All right, so I'm going to turn her on. And nothing. Try again. There we go. Okay. Got some movement. All of the speed is controlled by this little dial here. Simple on off. Speed. It's faster than I expected. That's top speed. Okay. I'll take it. I'm gonna get some clay and get started. I'm using some standard clay here. I'm guessing I have to use extremely small amounts, so I'm just gonna take a little bit of this out. I'm not gonna bother with wedging. This is pretty fresh. I'll start with just a little bit. We'll see how this goes. I'm really hoping this doesn't fly everywhere. This splash pan is very small. It's very short, and it doesn't come up even to the top of this wheel head, so I'm a little worried about that. I'm gonna start with a tiny little ball of clay here and see how this goes. I'm just gonna squoosh it down onto the center of the wheel. Man, I'm nervous. Why am I so nervous? It's like my body's telling me that this is some kind of emergency and I'm in danger. I've got it all on the wheel. I'm gonna get started. I'm not even gonna use this sponge for now. I hate synthetic sponges, the plasticky feel. I'm just gonna use my fingers and some water, get it a little bit wet, and we'll get started. Okay, so trick one is gonna be getting this centered. I'm gonna try to just use my fingers. I know I'm gonna need to use tools to do the actual throwing part, but just gonna use my fingers. And I'm using very soft clay for this. I'm kind of guessing that if you were to use clay that's even a little bit hard, you'd be in trouble trying to center it on this teeny wheel with not a lot of power. All right, I'm gonna turn her up. Yeah, this is already super challenging. All right. So I'm trying to use, I'm gonna turn it all the way up. Hopefully I won't regret it. Oh, we're already spattering everywhere. Okay. Yep. Centering is not easy. I have an easier time centering a 5-pound ball of clay than this. need to constantly re-wet it. It dries out pretty much immediately. I think that's the closest I'm gonna get to center. It's not perfect, but we're gonna try throwing it. And I'm already going to say I'm going to switch out this sponge. I am hating it. It's not even sopping up the mess at all. So I'm gonna switch it out for my normal sponge. So sponge gets a 0 out of 10. Let's see. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be so hard. Okay, I'm going to try using one of these little tools to throw it as if these were my fingers, because my fingers aren't going to be small enough to get in here. So let's see what we can do. Turn it to sort of medium speed. See if I can get a hole in the center. Plastic is sticking really bad to the inside, but it's sort of working. All right. Ooh, that's decent. Okay. I'm gonna try opening it up. All right. Let's see if we can get some pulls. I'm gonna try to support on the inside with my finger and pull on the outside with this tool. We'll see how that goes. Let me get the action from the side here so you can actually see what I'm doing. All right. This is very delicate work. The tiniest little movement of your hand makes an enormous difference in this tiny piece of clay. But I'm gonna call that done, and I'm gonna try to trim a little bit and then take it off. I'm gonna use this plastic guy to do a tiny bit of trimming on the bottom here. Alright, that worked good too. Alright, I like these tools. These are actually very well suited to the job. Oh god, tiniest little movement. Alright, I'm gonna call that done for now. I'm gonna turn it off. And I'm gonna use the wire tool that it came with and see if we can get it off of here. Basically a thimble. That is teeny tiny, but it did work. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty impressed. This tiny little $40 teeny wheel made a pot pretty easily. The only thing I really struggled with was the centering. The rest of it was pretty easy for me. I have been throwing for a long time. I'm sure that helps. But I found this to be very easy to use. I'm kind of surprised and kind of sad that I spent a year and a half looking at it and not trying it. That was kind of silly. All right, I'm gonna make a few more things and we'll see how it does with other shapes. fun, actually. I wanted to make a comment about the mess. It is practically non-existent. There was zero clay splashing out of this area. All of it was contained miraculously by this little tray. I think the wheel's going to be a little tricky to get clean because it's, you know, metal, and that's notoriously difficult to truly get all of the clay off. But I'm also not a meticulously clean potter, so that's not a huge deal for me. I don't think red clay was a great choice. It definitely stained this dial, and I'm hoping it will come off with just a little water, but we'll see. Yeah, it's coming off okay. It's just gonna take a little work. The dial has a lot of texture in it, and because of that, it's going to take some effort to get the clay out of it. So I don't love that. There's tons of little tiny lines that all the clay is stuck inside of. But overall, I'm really impressed with how clean it kept my space. There was no splashing whatsoever, and that's impressive. Okay, so all told, I'm very impressed with this. I think it's great. I was surprised at how easy it was to use after I got everything centered, of course. That took longer than expected on the first one, but the second and third, I kind of got the hang of it. Things I don't like about this: it's very noisy. I'm sure you could tell in the video, it makes an annoying sound, more so than a regular wheel would. It's kind of a squeaky, annoying sound. I'm sure if you put on headphones, it wouldn't bother you, but I found it to be distracting and annoying. Secondly, I do wonder about the longevity of this. I think if you use it a lot, the motor's not going to last a long time. I just don't see it lasting. It could be that it does, and I will update this after I use it for a few months, and if it's still going strong, I will let you know. But I don't really see it lasting a super long time. I think that's mostly the complaint with little wheels like this, that the motor burns out. Other than that, I found it to be really fun, really easy, very nice, very well made, no mess. That's pretty cool. And also I found out after I finished the video that it does work in both clockwise and counterclockwise. So if you are a lefty and you tend to throw clockwise, you can do that on this. You flip it, I believe you flip it up for clockwise and you flip it down for counterclockwise, or the other way around. But either way, it does do both. So if you're a lefty, you can still enjoy this wheel. So I'm impressed. I liked it a lot. I hope you like it a lot too. If you would like to buy one, it's $40. That's really not bad for a little wheel. You can have a lot of fun with this. I'll see you next time. I hope you enjoy.